Hi, I'm Jessica Ardeal, and Lynn Misch, thank you so much for being the rock in this project here. And this is your final call to join us for the Own Your Healthcare Master Class. And we talked a little bit before about some topics that we're touching on briefly, but ultimately what we're going to do is individualize this to you. So it will be a small group. We will be working with you one-on-one and together, and we will be talking about what you need for you. And that really leaves a lot of, well, what's really going to happen? What are we going to get? What's the outcome? What's the result, right? And that's where I want to take you back to your vision. Like, what do you want? What do you see for your health and lifestyle? How you want to feel, how you're acting and interacting with yourself and others in day to day. And also, I love that quote, right? How you live one day is how you spend your life, right? Something like that. And so, what's really important here is to focus on what you can do in each day to bring ownership to your healthcare, right? Because nobody's going to take better care of you than you do of yourself. But we're here to give you some tools and tips, all of the worksheets and cheat sheets that will be provided to have that concrete linear left brain experience grounded in an educational entertainment and edutainment, right? Oh, who said that? I'll have to look that up. Anyway, Lynn, I'm gonna again take my sip of water here and give you the mic.
Well, it's interesting because you touched on something that I think is which when you said that you predominantly work with women clients, and it's interesting when you think about women as a whole, that and not eliminating men in this process at all, but I'm just going to talk about I think a little bit about women because I think women take the back seat to their own health care. And I think that they're so busy. What I found oftentimes in working with women at all different capacities is they're so busy taking care of everybody else that they take a second seat to themselves. And I think it's really important when you start to look at, and that's men included, a lot of times you're raising a family, you're working, and in our culture, we're successful when we're working um, uh, a job that takes a lot of our energy. We're in the workplace more than we're at home, oftentimes. And so when you think about the time that we cut out for ourselves to really embrace a better sense of well being, oftentimes that becomes second, a back seat to everything else that's going on in our lives. And I think it's important. And I think part of this process that we will be doing with people that are participating in this master class is to help them negotiate through a lot of that to carve out time that is so significantly important to their own personhood, to their own sense of well-being, to their own sense of how they embrace and allow themselves, give themselves permission to, which I think is interesting because it's really allowing yourself the ability to be able to care for yourself. And it's work with a company monthly and kind of an interesting group. And I do different topics all the time and I like small groups. And there's been different encounters that I've had with these different individuals. And I've watched their growth over the last 4 years when I've engaged in different wellness topics and different ideas and strategies to help them gain more opportunities to explore their own sense of well-being within the workplace, which is really interesting because I think sometimes that gets lost. And the interesting part of what the company that I work with is it's run by a woman, it's owned by a woman, and she really carves out time for her employees. She really carves out times and also gives them the recognition of not only have they grown as a company, but their endeavors together as a team that has really grown the company and really gives back to them. And part of the engagement that I have with them monthly is that's a part of the investment that she's making in them, and recognizes how important their health and well-being is in their participation. When you look at the hours that they spend and the time that they spend, the investment of really investing in her employees, she gets better outcome. And she's grown significantly. The company's grown significantly because the employees are engaged and they're happy and they have a voice. And so I think it's really important when you think about that in your own personhood, how can you carve out that time with the busy lives that we lead, to have a voice in your own healthcare, to make decisions based on what are the best choices, right? How can we not cut corners to having maximal outcomes for our own sense of well-being? And I think that that's a lot of what I think we're going to map out for clients or people that participate in this masterclass, is how can we, and it's funny how people learn. I think it's interesting because I have a gentleman in this class, and it's, you hear about smokers and you hear about, and I'm just going to share a little story here because I like stories. I like working with patients. I like working with people because I love people's stories. Everybody's got one. You all have a story. You all have a life, and you all have amazing stories. And I get the benefit of sitting with you, and I get to listen to your stories and find out who you are when you share that with me. And it's really amazing what I get to benefit when I hear that. And so anyway, back to this.
There's so much about ourselves we keep inside.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's so important to give that stage for that part of ourselves that can be appreciated and acknowledged like that. So thank you for that, right? It takes a big heart to be able to be in healthcare and take care of everyone at that level.
Well, and I think it's really finding that vulnerability is a strength, it's not a weakness, right? And a lot of times we hide behind these different masks because we're afraid to show people who we are. And I think a lot of it has to do with failure, that we're afraid that we're not going to be successful. And I think that even in our own health, that what happens is the fear that mitigates and becomes the reality in our healthcare is what creates the loss of success, because we succumb to the fear of not knowing that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to make the choices and take on the experiences and the knowledge, but by showing who we are in our vulnerability. I think that's the beauty of it. Back to the story of this gentleman. I mean, I have worked with smokers because when you look at disease processes, multitudes of disease processes aligned with smoking and smoking cessation and all those kinds of things. And over the years, I've thought about, what do you tell a smoker, right? Because they've heard it all. They've heard about, they read it on the cigarette pack, they hear about it, they listen to the risks of smoking, and they continue the behavior. And it was interesting because there was one day that I was doing a class on smoking and smoking cessation and the benefits of all these different things that occur. And later on, this gentleman came up to me and he said, I quit smoking and I smoked for years. And I'm like, you did what? And he said, there was something that you said in a class that clicked. And I'm like, okay, what helped you? And he said, when you told me, he said that the addiction process of the nicotine only lasts for about 72 hours. He said, and after that, it's all behavioral. And he said, I wrapped my mind around the fact that in 72 hours, I had an addiction that would go away, and the rest of it was in my control. It was my behavior. It was my pattern. And once he identified with that, he's now quit smoking. I think it's been probably almost a year and a half. And it's just like, I'm like, wow, that's like fabulous that but somewhere, hopefully in this class, as
So
we
that's
talk.
a prime example of owning your healthcare, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's taking ownership of something, and maybe you don't want to do it, but you know the alternative.
And something clicked. That's the other piece, is that it doesn't all click at the same time for all of us, right? We can give the message, we can do whatever, and everybody takes on to the experience what they need when they need it, or when they can assimilate that information, or take on that information. They may not be ready. You may come to a stage where you're just not ready to hear it. You're not ready to, I've had people that go into denial with a disease process, and some have lost their life, because I had a brother that lost his life to a heart attack because he was in denial because of prior experiences as a kid, being in the hospital, different things. And I think it all attributed to his fear of what happened, and his not recognizing that he had control over that and his own vulnerability. His fear overrode his ability to make the choice to make a difference, even when he was told. So we all make different choices, and there's no right and wrong in it. That's the thing. That's we are our own best critics, right? We're our own taskmasters. We're the people that are the person that's hardest on ourselves, right? We're the ones that are making the decisions, and it's our little voice that tells us, oh, you can't do that, or oh, you're not good enough, or oh, this isn't going to work, whatever it is. But it's interesting, because I think it's when you're ready, just as this fellow was. He was ready, and the information came at the right time, and he embraced it, and he made the change. And what a wonderful opportunity that is for him, because he's so proud of himself. That's the other piece. That's just, he's proud of himself. It clicked, it worked. He's like, yes, I'm happy.
Intrinsic satisfaction is such a payoff, right? And so there's going to be an exchange. There's going to be a give and a take, but within that, we're here to support you in cultivating that joy on the journey, even when it's a little rocky. So do join us for the Own Your Healthcare Masterclass. It's been a joy chatting with you here, and thank you so much for your time today. We will see you soon. Hop on the Own Your Healthcare site there, and we'll see you soon. Lynn, is there anything else you want to share? I think that was great. Thank you. You're fabulous as always.
Right back at you, Jess. I mean, this is just fun. I mean, it's just fun. So come and join us, and let's have some fun. And we'll dig a little deep sometimes, but and hopefully you'll catch the right bus, and it'll be the bus to, making the choices that you need to make for yourself, because nobody can make them for you. So what a grand opportunity, and thank you. Thank you for participating. We'll see you soon.